Well, today we stand with the people of Iran. We stand with people who are engaged in legitimate protests against an oppressive, corrupt regime. And there's a certain irony to this. This is a great people, the people of Iran. It was the Persian king Cyrus the Great who drafted the first Declaration of Human Rights, the Cyrus Cylinder. As you enter the United Nations, you see this quotation from him. This was a document meant to protect other cultures, and it secured a special place in the history of civilization. His humanitarian values that he laid out of freedom for all peoples, respect for culture, for religious liberty, recognition of the fact that it is better to be loved than be feared, these are remarkable attributes, especially at that point in time, and they were handed down as part of this deep Persian culture. And we who live in free societies owe a great debt to the Iranian people. They're the heirs to this culture. They are those who hold those values and ideas for governance that originally inspired the European Enlightenment, leaders of our own government here, our own founding fathers. It was Thomas Jefferson who told his grandson, "These are the ideals you study first of Cyrus the Great in terms of governance." Now, it is amazing that Iranians at this moment enjoy far fewer rights than their forefathers did. Cyrus was lauded for the protections he offered religious and ethnic minorities. We look at the state of affairs today and you see the repression of Iran's ethnic and religious minority populations, from the Azerbaijanis to the Baluchs, from the Kurds and the Arabs to the Baha'is and the Christians and the Zoroastrians. You know, the regime authorities routinely deny those citizens the most basic human rights, and they do it through harassment and intimidation and detention and violence. And if you want to know what kind of violence, talk to the young Persians or talk to the young minorities who have suffered through the torture in those prisons. Why do they suffer through it? Because they are trying to bring attention to the oppressiveness of that regime. And those young people yearn for human rights. They stand for the celebrated culture of the Persian people and for human rights. And as this resolution makes clear, the United States House of Representatives fully supports those who have taken to the streets in Iran to exercise the fundamental freedom of expression and assembly. We join them in the hope that their bravery will build the foundation for the emergence of a freely elected, open, democratic political system in Iran. It is a moral imperative to support those who risk their lives demanding the freedoms that people in free societies enjoy every day. And that's why this resolution calls on all democratic governments and institutions worldwide to join us in clearly supporting the Iranian people's right to live in a free society. We all face a clear choice, and we stand with the protesters. We stand with those who demand the basic rights and opportunities enjoyed in free societies. We're not going to stand with the oppressors, those who steal the wealth of a great nation to enrich themselves and to fund violence abroad. Supporting the people of Iran is a strategic imperative. These brave men and women are standing up against the Revolutionary Guard's violent intervention in Syria and Lebanon as well. We must join them in demanding an end to the single greatest source of instability in the Middle East, and this is this obsession that the regime has with this ideology. In standing with the Iranian people, we must explain that they are not the target of our sanctions. U.S. sanctions target the oppressive, destabilizing regime, not the people of Iran. And that's why, as this resolution makes clear, Congress has provided authority to license communications technology that improves the ability of the Iranian people to speak freely. Today, we call on the agencies involved to expedite those licenses. U.S. international broadcasting must also turn up the volume of its efforts in Iran and convey a message of hope and support. And this should be conveyed by the young that know that this debate today in the American People's House is about this issue. Iranians must know that they are not alone in their struggle for freedom. And we also call on companies to reject requests by the regime to cut off the Iranian people from social media. These technologies are at their best when they are used to empower people and undermine the efforts of oppressive regimes. There's more we can do, and I welcome Chairman McCall and Congressman Deutsch's introduction of bipartisan legislation that will give the administration greater leverage to target those responsible for ordering and carrying out human rights abuses in Iran. And this includes the regime's practice of holding Americans and other foreigners hostage. Many of the regime's hostages are people of Iranian descent who came to visit family members, came to visit loved ones. I'm also working to introduce legislation that has the same goal as those who have bravely taken to the streets, to push the corrupt Revolutionary Guard out of the Iranian economy. And in doing so, it seeks to deny the guards the funds they use to hold power over the Iranian people while destabilizing Syria and destabilizing Lebanon. Mr. Speaker, Congress and the administration have a great opportunity. We must work together on an approach to Iran that empowers the Iranian people and targets the corrupt regime which oppresses a great people. We cannot be quiet. With the passage of this resolution, we state that America stands with the Iranian people.